In a world where politics often overshadows humanity, one will rise from struggle. Sumud.
I just had to let you know you're.
Hi, my name is ZHARFAN, and I'm with my friends, DANISH, NAWWAR, MARYAM, and SIBA. We will talk about global Sumud Flotilla. What is Sumud? Sumud means steadfastness in Arabic. It became a symbol of Palestinian resistance after 1967 war, when families faced occupation and displacement. There are two forms, static Sumud and resistance Sumud. Static Sumud, it is staying on the land despite hardship. While resistance Sumud, it means by building schools, community, institution as acts of defiance. More than politics, Sumud is everyday life turned into resistance. For example, farmers cultivating land under threat, while families rebuilding homes after demolitions. The spirit of steadfastness is not confined to Palestine. It speaks to global politics, humanitarian struggles, international law, and worldwide activism. And it is the spirit carried by the global Sumud Flotilla.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Irfan RAMLI. So now I'm going to talk about how the Gaza Flotilla actually reflect global political tension. So first, what is the Gaza Flotilla? Basically, it is a group of ships organized by activists trying to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza by sea. But it is not just about aid. It is a political statement because by doing this, they are directly challenging the blockade around Gaza. And that's where things get complicated. Different countries react very differently. Some see the flotilla as a humanitarian mission, helping civilians who need support, but others see it as a security issue, especially because of the ongoing conflict. So this already shows us one thing: the world is divided. Now, let's talk about countries and their roles. For example, the United States usually support Israel's positions, focusing on security concern. But on the other hand, many countries and groups support Palestinian rights and criticize the blockade. Even organizations like the United Nations often call for humanitarian access, but they don't always have the power to enforce their decision. So this brings us to power dynamic. Who actually has control? So Israel controls Gaza borders, airspace, and sea access. That means even humanitarian aid is controlled by political and military power. So when the flotilla tries to enter, it is not just aid anymore. It becomes a challenge to that control. And this is where big power comes in. Countries like United States, regional actors, and international organizations all influence what happens through diplomacy, funding, or political pressure. So, even though it looks like a small event, just ships going to Gaza, it actually involves global politics.
When we talk about the global Sumud Flotilla, it's easy to think it's just about ship, but actually, it's about the people. The flotilla is a civilian-led humanitarian mission made up of volunteers from different countries, like doctors, nurses, activists, and even legal teams. They actually don't move all at once, but instead, they travel in waves, starting from different countries and then stopping at ports. Later, they regrouping before slowly moving closer to Gaza. And honestly, that actually tell us something that this is not random, it's planned and it's intentional. But why they do this? They do this because in Gaza today, more than 2 million people are living in conditions where basic needs are not always guaranteed. According to the United Nations UN, many depend heavily on humanitarian aid just to survive. And The World Health Organization WHO has reported shortage in hospital, including antibiotics, anesthesia, and essential medical equipment. So when these ships carry aid like food, medicine, and basic supplies, they are not actually bringing luxury, but they are bringing things that people are waiting for desperately. And what made this mission different is the people behind it. Individuals like Muhammad Nadi Al Nuri from Cinta Gaza, Malaysia, and activists like Tiago Avila, not to forget Greta Thunberg, show that this effort is not limited to one country only, but it's global. Different backgrounds, but with one purpose, which is to help. Of course, the journey is not easy. Ship can be delayed, stopped, or never reach their destination, but still they go again and again. Because maybe this flotilla is not just about delivering aid, it's about showing that even in difficult situation, people are still willing to care, and sometimes that matters just as much as the aid itself.
Now that we understand the political and humanitarian context, let's look at one key question. What does the international law actually say about this? First, under the United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea, ships in international water have the right to move freely. In simple terms, this means that a humanitarian ships carrying aids, not weapons, should not be stopped while traveling in international water. Second, the Geneva Conventions focus on protecting civilians during conflicts. They emphasize something very basic, which is people should not be denied food, medicines, or essential aids, especially when their survival depends on it. But here's where the issues become complicated. Some governments argue that blockades are legal during conflict, especially for security reasons. So now we have two sides of the law. On one side, the right to deliver humanitarian aid and the protections of civilians, and on the other, the right of a state to enforce a blockade for security. But when we look at this carefully, one questions become unavoidable. If a blockade prevents basic necessities from reaching civilians, does it still remain a security measure or does it become a humanitarian violation? The United Nations has repeatedly stressed that humanitarian aid must be allowed to reach those in need. Because at the core of the international law is one principle: human life must come first. So, the issue is not just about what is legal, but how the law is being interpreted. Because when the law is used to justify blocking aid, we must ask ourselves, are we protecting security or are we neglecting humanity? And in the case of the global Sumud Flotilla, the law does not just sit on paper, it becomes a test of our value.
The global activism aspect of the global Sumud Flotilla is organized by normal people who have no political power or governmental influences. These are people that come from all around the world, hence the name global. They're volunteers of various occupations such as doctors, lawyers, legal teams, and humanitarian workers. For example, we have the Brazilian activist named Tiago Avila, who was responsible for organizing maritime missions that bring aid and break the blockade on the Gaza Strip. There are non-governmental organizations such as the Freedom Flotilla Coalition that is the main international group responsible for organizing the flotilla missions. We have got Malaysian NGOs such as Cinta Gaza Malaysia, which was kick-started by a Malaysian student living in Gaza. It raises awareness and brings aid. We have got the Malaysian Consultative Council of Islamic Organizations that organizes humanitarian aid. Other than their specific missions, these NGOs raise funds globally and provide legal protection for their participants. Most importantly, they use social media to document everything. All of these is to ensure that the world keeps paying attention and keeps humanitarian issues visible. Thank you.
From the steadfastness of people to the solidarity of nations, the global Sumud Flotilla show us the humanity and politics are inseparable. It is a reminder that resistance is not only about survival, it is about justice, dignity, and hope. Thank you.